What other organizations have solid research on this topic that we could steer journalists to?
Well, so the Georgetown Center is a great one that I use a lot in my own reporting. She also mentioned Burning Glass, which has interesting data on job openings, and they're helpful to reporters. Another one along those lines is Indeed, which is a company that gathers job openings and also does gathers data on job seekers, and so they will often have really interesting data on some of these questions. A fourth group that has a lot of really interesting work on this is a company called Glassdoor. Not the same as Burning Glass. Glassdoor is a website where people leave reviews of their employers. And so Glassdoor often has really interesting data on specific companies that you can't find anywhere else. And it's kind of the most popular of these sites where you can leave a review of an employer. So it means they have a lot of examples. They've collected a lot of data. One of the challenges with information that's generated from websites is that it's often not nationally representative. And so you want to figure out how does this data align with the overall U.S. economy, or is it kind of self-selecting data? Are there kind of biases in the data because only certain people go to these websites and use these websites? So you always want to kind of think about that and ask those questions. But those are sites that have really great information and are to me have always been very helpful. They're very willing to help journalists kind of get information on some questions that you can't get. But I would still say that the most important source for this is going to be the Labor Department. I mean, they just put out so much data on this. One of the other really important data sets that they have is called the OES. It's Occupational Employment Statistics. And they have data on, what are the, average wages for very specific job titles, how many people in the country have those job titles. That can be great context for a story like this, if you're writing about dye mill machinists or something, and, this will tell you how many people, they have it both ways. They have it, how many people are employed by that industry. They have industry level data, and then occupational data, how many people are machinists, what's the average wages as machinists, stuff like that. That can be tremendous context, and the Labor Department is usually very willing to actually help reporters find a specific piece of data. If you, email the contact information on the OES website, if you can't find it on your own, they're usually happy to point you to the relevant category or something like that. For they won't necessarily provide a lot of quotes for your stories, but they'll show you where the data is.
Yeah, I've also had good luck with their chat line. I mean, you can literally chat with someone from BLS online, which is a terrific resource for reporters, and they seem to respond in real time. So
I can add a couple to your list. I would suggest Federal Reserve Boards. So there are many economists writing on this topic. Federal Reserve Board of New York and San Francisco come to mind. Brookings Institution as well, especially as it relates to metropolitan data. They have a really terrific source of metropolitan level data on jobs and opportunities. There's the Conference Board is another great source of opportunity here. And finally, one large data set that is often overlooked is a data set we call the ONET data set. And if you
ONET?
If you Google O** NET, which is like the occupational network data set, what this shows is for every single occupation under the standard occupational codes, and the standard occupational codes, there are 1,000 occupations from managers all the way to production occupations. But for every single occupation, it tells you what are the knowledge, skills, abilities, values, interests, and personality levels required for you to be successful in that job. So ONET tells you, it's a huge repository, it's a huge taxonomy of information that tells you about these competencies, and you can use it to gauge what these soft skills are for particular occupations. If you're looking at the manufacturing occupations, maybe welders and plumbers, what are the soft skills, if any, that are required? What are some of the hard skills and how that's changed? ONET is a great source for that.